I call on Anne Bergman-Taon, Director of the Federation of European Publishers.
Thank you. I'll try to do as well. Copyright is obviously a very polemic subject, and therefore it's difficult to put together the three reports. The common point, I think, between the three panels is that there's still a huge number of questions that need to be answered, and that the interrogation and uncertainty of the digital environment is creating on all of the stakeholders, authors, publishers, library users. My panel, the copyright versus copyleft panel, the first thing we discussed was whether there was really copyright versus copyleft, or whether copyright and copyleft were complementary and had different values for different sectors. This was raised by the professor of law, André Lucas, from Nantes University, and he recognized that copyright, droit d'auteur, as he spoke French, was facing a legitimacy crisis, and he listed some of the reasons. He thought protection was too long, too rigid, that there were too many competing interests, and that there was opposing new practice. He asked whether it was the death of copyright, and he said he didn't think so, but he thought that there was need to compromise on copyrights and to bring more exception to copyright or complementary solution like copyleft. He concluded by sort of quoting Beaumarchais and saying that authors do need prestige, but they need to be able to pay for dinners too. We had two speakers who represented publishers, and they both spoke of their experience and how they benefited from copyright. They stressed that copyright was rewarding and remunerating creation, not only in the developed world, but in the developing world too. They also questioned the copyleft movement in the train of knowledge, and they asked about plagiarism. And they left us with a question, do we become copycats? We had two other speakers who spoke about the fact that whether in the digital worlds the incentive for creation should be rather social benefits rather than reward of investment. They say that we need to move from legal reasoning to social reasoning. Copyright duration should be shorter, and citizens should be able to share. We should focus on ways to bring value about content and not just about the content itself. They say that freedom was more important than economy, and that the use of freedom was more important than anything. They thought that copyright denies freedom, copyright to share, and that freedom should be legalized. And they concluded to say that we need to free ourselves from the copyright tyranny. You would understand I don't completely agree with that. We also had a speaker who spoke about the difficulty for visually impaired persons to have access to accessible content. And he took us through all of the difficulties in his country, India, and asked for exception for visually impaired persons in all countries, as well as exchange of files at a cross-border level. There were several interventions during the panel on that issue, with some participants pleading for a legislative solution, while others thought that this could be solved through trusted intermediaries. And it was even suggested that libraries could be such trusted intermediaries. And the president of the panel concluded by a personal example. He used to be a publisher, and he said that one day he had a book where 90% was copied from the internet, and when he asked to the author why she found that this was acceptable, she said, well, she was like a DJ, and that copyright meant actually the right to copy. So that was it for that panel. The second panel was about Creative Commons and the fair use in the United States, and it also came with a number of questions. How to reach the balance between creation and access, how to solve the issue at international level, and at national level, should it be through education, or to explain to kids the complicated subject of copyright and whether we should speak of stealing because kids don't understand stealing like that. Should the copyright system be changed? Should there be a new Berne Convention? They were a plea to use new tools like Creative Commons, that's a voluntary license to allow the rights holders to keep some rights and waive some others. I think that it was said that it's not questioned that the authors need to be rewarded, but some people believe that the current system should be changed to allow publishers and others to use it, but also to use non-commercial use. There's a suggestion also to permit registration of works so that those works, once to have a full protection, should be registered. Let me just, oops. There was a discussion also on the fair use concept in the US and in other countries and whether certain use should be allowed. There was a discussion also on Wikipedia and why people who were working for Wikipedia didn't need to be paid and were happy to have their works online for free and that they were all publishing under the Creative Commons license. And that Wikipedia was using the fair use concept even when it was not applied in the country where they would publish. Well, it was considered that the French copyright law would not, to say that they not copy, that was regrettable because educational purpose needs to be tolerated. We'll also say that people are willing to pay if the price is reasonable. And it's to conclude, the new technology do not always kill the previous one, radio, cinema, television, so publishers should not be afraid and should do what they have to do, including using new business model. So that was the second panel, and now I'll try to go really quickly to do the last panel that was on a related but different subject, that's preservation. I mean, what was told to me was that the new preservation paradigm is evolving in the digital domain. It's not happened without significant changes on the part of the institution responsible for cultural heritage. The ability to allow digital information to circulate rapidly on new carriers to migrate from one carrier to another will be the ultimate guarantee of the permanent conservation. There were a number of examples, and they will be posted, I would guess, on the UNESCO website. I think that what they said, the libraries and the archives share common interest in investigating in the challenges. There's a need for not only technology, but principal policies and strategy and frameworks. Library need to have standards, and they have quoted the UNESCO Charter for Preservation of Digital Heritage as a new start, but there's a need for more international cooperation. They need to figure out ways to make the content useful and relevant for researchers. Not only now, but in 50 years and even in 500 years from now on. And I will have to excuse myself or the other rapporteur because I may have truncated their presentation, but we'll post everything on the internet. Thank you.